what is word is bond to you? And maybe you might want to give an example of a scenario or a situation where you had to really put that to yourself, like, you know what, my word is bond and I've got to do this. I have no choice but to do this. So Mr. Dan PADGUG, thank you very much for that information from episode 5. We are now at episode 6. And what is word is bond to you, Mr. Dan, since you brought it up last week? So fire away, sir.
Great, Carlo. Thanks for asking. Yeah, the expression is your word is your bond. And basically what it means is you do what you say you're going to do. And it's funny, you would think that would be an easy thing, but as JODI talked about before, you know, it's consistency, it's doing what you say you're going to do, it's starting something and finishing it. And you'll find that most people, really their word isn't their bond. So if indeed you're one of the few that do what you say you're going to do, then you're going to actually stand out for a lot of your competition. I mean, I've been to tons of network groups in my 340 years of being on this earth, and it's just been amazing how many people will promise one thing but do something else. Little things, whether it be I'll call you back tomorrow and they don't call back, or let's get together next week and they don't get together. I mean, just little stuff that you think wouldn't be important, but it seems we now live in an era where it's not so much you do what you're going to do, but you do what's in your best interest. So if you plan on something for tomorrow, but something quote unquote comes up that you feel is better, then you end up not doing it. So I think it's just real important that you do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't, by the way, and obviously a lot of things happen, just call the person up or contact the person and say, hey, look, Mike, I know we're supposed to get together today at 4:30. Something came up, let's reschedule it. So it's just a matter of being consistent. And like I said, do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't, just let the other person know that you can't. And it's amazing if all you do is keep to that one principle, how much you will stand apart from your competition. So that's just kind of kick it off what your word is your bond is to me, and I'll throw it out to the rest of the group and see what it means to them, and maybe some specific examples where they've done that and it's come out in a good ending for them.
If you are saying that you're going to do something, that's what you need to do. You need to carry that out. Unfortunately, like Dan was saying, not everyone has that same principle. So, you know, it is just kind of that courtesy and respect. I mean, to me, it's just a respect thing. And like he said, you know, stuff comes up, even with my clients, I say, you know, life happens, just give me, you know, make sure if you can't make it to something or to an appointment, just give me a heads up and I'll do the same for you. And that is a promise that I make to them. But I also think about, you know, and I don't talk about this too much with people, but like in politics, if you think about it, when you have politicians and they're getting up there, I mean, what do you vote on? Do you vote on, you know, just magic, or do you vote on what they say they're going to do? And then you also probably look at things like charisma and definitely their nonverbals too. So that's something that I tell people too. And I tell my daughter that as well, you know, it is your word, but it's also your actions. You know, are you just saying that you're going to do something, or are you putting some action behind it too? So when I think of word as bond, I think of the action as well. Like, what are you doing to show people that you are trustworthy? And especially with, you know, coaches or service, any kind of services, you have to show people that you're trustworthy and that they can count on you, or else they're not going to come to you. They're going to go to somebody else. So I think that's huge. And that's something that all of us need to be able to capitalize on.
Okay, so I'm going to throw in another perspective of this, because I think that sometimes people don't follow up with what they say that they're going to do because they don't have the proper systems in place to keep track of everything that they've committed to. Mm. And that's something that I help people kind of get a handle of, because, you know, since we've gotten into this digital age, there are so many people that we're talking to all the time. And unless we have a good system of keeping track of all the conversations that we've had, it's really easy to let something slip through the cracks and not even realize that we broke our word. So I think also, you know, as somebody that also probably gets really annoyed when people break their appointment time or don't call or whatever when we're scheduled to meet, I have compassion in those moments also, and try and realize that maybe, you know, they've just don't have everything quite as organized as what they would like to have, it doesn't necessarily completely discredit them as not having integrity or not being able to follow through with what they say that they could do. It might just mean that they need some better systems.
And for me, word is bond for me. 90% of success is just plainly showing up, you know, and I'm not talking about just being at a certain location. Showing up could be attending a conference call or Zoom meeting, participating in a team conference, team effort function, showing up to a scheduled appointment, just like what Heidi said, or publishing a content like this. These are all concepts of showing up. As for my own scenario, in regards to our topic, I have investors and shareholders nationwide that have trusted me to keep my word bond. You know, so I have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure their money is working for them under my supervision. And I'm not doing anything different than what Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, or Mark Cuban are doing. They all have investors. And in order for our investors to continue to have faith in us, we have to keep them updating by publishing content, memes, and videos like this on social media, so our investors can see that we are showing up by keeping the brands that they've invested to in the eyeballs of the market. You know, so it's a contract. It's a contract that I have promised the investors. So for me, by promising the investors on what I wrote in the contract, that reverse engineers all the way up to this event. I have to show up to this function every week, you know. There are times I'm just like, oh my God, you know, like I have to work out, yada, yada, do all these things. But no, I promised them this, and everything, as soon as this is done, they're seeing it on YouTube. So to them, the faith is on. They're like, okay, he's doing what he said he's supposed to do. So I'm not hearing these calls. I'm not here getting these text messages of what's going on? How come you're not doing anything? I don't care if this pandemic, slamdemic, pandemic, what's going on with my money? So for me, the word is bond. It all starts from the investors, and it reverse engineers all the way up to this community.
As far as your word being your bond, it's all about integrity, which is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles and moral uprightness. It's like you said, it's about doing what you say you're going to do because you said you would. And it's, you know, it's morally and ethically correct. If you don't have your word and you can't be trusted, what do you have? Because that's all we have is, you know, who we are, what we say we're going to do, so on and so forth. So if you don't have that with yourself, you don't have anything to offer anyone else. So that's how I kind of look at it. So I try, and so my thing is when somebody says, you know, they're going to promise me something, I'll say, don't promise me if you're going to break, if there's any chance you're going to break that promise, don't make the promise. You know, if you can't do it, then just say you can't do it. It's that simple. Just, you know, be honest. So that's it for me.
Time management is key when you're trying to keep your word, when your word is going to be your bond, your soul bond, especially in service. You know, another great thing is when you do keep that bond, you are building your credibility as a business. You are doing it as a person. But another great thing when you are keeping your bond is you are building that confidence and you will be more consistent as things go on. For a lot of newer people that don't know about keeping that bond, they don't understand what it means to, you know, to keep it and what the positives are. It's going to come out of it. So, like, you know, like Jody says, consistency is huge, and like everybody else is saying, time management is key.